What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Dear Mr. and Mrs. Bradley. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Dear Mr. and Mrs. Bradley. This is episode number 4 for everybody who's keeping up. I hope you guys have been enjoying the series so far.
If you have, make sure if you have not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit that like button and click the little notification bell so you can always be notified when we upload next.
So, we're a day late and a dollar short with this whole entanglement issue. Everybody has already, I know everybody's been talking about it. It's been the talk of the town all over social media for the past weeks. Even August Alsina actually dropped a song about the whole thing. So it got me to thinking about stuff to talk about. We don't have anybody in our bedroom. We don't have an open relationship, and I'm not consenting to anybody having relations with CC. But it did get me to thinking about.
I can't have a boyfriend? That's what you're saying? I can't have a boyfriend?
I can have a girlfriend?
Carry on.
So it got me to thinking about not so much letting other people have relations, but letting people into your relationship. And it got me to thinking about back when we first started dating and the many of people who were involved in, I ain't gonna say so much decision making, but knowing the ins and outs of our relationship. That was not, your friends knew about what was going on with us.
I think that was more so you. But, all right.
You didn't tell your friends. You didn't tell your friends about what was.
When you acted up.
And what did they say?
When you acted up, yeah, and they told me to leave your butt.
And what was your thought process on that? So.
What did I think about it?
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't.
But you thought about it.
Clearly, I was thinking about it before they said it, though.
I just always said, like, I did. When we first started dating, and even up until probably a little bit before we got married, I did talk to my mother. Not so much my friends. Not a lot. Didn't like per se get relationship advice from my friends, but I did talk about my mother. Now, the scary thing I feel like when you do stuff like that and involve outside people is obviously their opinion is skewed because for one, they are your side. More likely, if you're talking to them, they're opinionated on your side. They got your better interest in mind. Most people, I think, needless if they say they're yes man or not, they typically are going to agree with their I don't know what's a friend or loved one in most cases. Even if they like both people, more likely the person who they're talking with is the person they're going to side with.
Oh yeah, there's always a bias. There's always going to be a bias when you talk to somebody about your relationship, which is why you shouldn't talk to other people about your relationship. And I also think there's a line, like you need people to vent to. I feel like people need to vent sometimes. You need to have like a safe space with a friend or a trusted person that you can vent to a little bit, but every single little detail, that's just not necessary, because you know what's gonna happen? You know what's gonna happen? As soon as something goes wrong, something else goes wrong, they're gonna be like, I told you what to do last time.
Like when Omar Epps was like, your sleepless bed or your loveless bed.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be like, oh well, you already told me he was wrong or she was bad, or so why are you still with that person? They're gonna be giving that person the side eye. They ain't gonna ever forget that person. They're gonna be giving that person the side eye from that moment on. Yeah,
I think it's a slippery slope when you let somebody in, because it's really hard to unshape an opinion in which you paint the picture you paint to somebody about somebody, because more likely you ain't telling them. One, you ain't telling them what you did. That's more likely most cases. You ain't telling them what you did to fuel the flames. Two, you telling them all this bad stuff. And then when you take them back, because there is actually a lot of good in some cases with that person. Not all that spewing that you did. All they're gonna be looking at is all the bad stuff. All they can think about is all the bad stuff that you ever.
That time he slapped you across the living room. That's all I can remember.
What are you talking about?
I'm just saying. You tell me that. All I'm gonna remember when I see him is that time he slapped you across the living room, and now we looking crazy, and I'm looking at him like.
So is there a way? Speaking of which, because anyway, is there a way to healthy? Or do you think there's a way to healthy vent without
I do.
Getting too in depth inside of someone's relationship?
Well, like I said, I think everybody needs somebody to vent to, and when you don't have that, I feel like that's when like you get a buildup inside of you, and you're like, I ain't got nobody to talk to. I can't tell you how annoying you are, so who do I tell? You know what I'm saying? Actually,
I tell you to.
Maybe that's right. I tell y'all how annoying he is. But it's nice to, it's just nice to have somebody to vent to, but every single little detail is not, that you shouldn't give every little detail.
Yeah, I would say, like, I remember little stuff like, I'd be like, when we first started dating, I did not want to go to, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't a big, like, I wasn't a go to church almost every Sunday person. And we had it caused friction in our relationship to the point where I had told my mother, like, I don't really, she makes me go to church on Sunday, every Sunday, I don't want to do that. And that was one of the things that I did vent to my mom about. And she was in my ear like, you don't have to do that, you don't need to, you need to blah, 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 blah. And it caused friction in our relationship that had I just went to her and had that conversation, I feel like there are some things you need to go to that person about instead of like, I do believe venting is needed. You do need to vent in a relationship, but I do think there are like some things I think most things that you need to keep in the house.
I think small things, like if I'm like, he'll pick up his damn socks off the floor, or he walk in the house, just throw his clothes down on the floor. He does that.
I think.
But I think stuff like that. If that's what you've been to somebody about, like trivial stuff like that, I think that's fine. But I think if you like, man, he can't keep a job, he keep being fired from his job, he ain't got no money. I think like stuff like that'll really, if it comes out, hurt the other person or make them feel some type of way. Like I feel like if my mom if I were to tell my mom, you don't pick up your socks or something, and then she were to come back to you and be like, I don't know, for some reason, let it slip that I told her that you don't pick up your socks, that wouldn't hurt your feelings.
I'll do that.
But something like, he can't keep a job, and then my mother comes back and goes, oh, so I heard you can't keep a job in front of at the family reunion. Then you like, what? Excuse me?
I think that is dead on. Like, it's, I don't even really have no expound on that, besides throwing out the fact of, like, there's little stuff that I think every couple does, and every couple, even when you get around other couples and y'all talking and stuff, and it's just like small jokes. Like, most men don't clean up after themselves. Most men don't clean up the kitchen. Most men don't.
You shouldn't try to be most men. You should try to be better.
I do be better, because let my mother-in-law tell it.
Oh, I'm the
best husband in the world.
She just love him. She just know. First of all, she just know he do everything around the house. He do everything with the kids, and I don't do nothing. According to my mother, I do absolutely nothing, and he does everything.
So my mother-in-law, my mom think. So I know I do my part as far as cooking and cleaning.
Whatever. So
that's not even the case. But the point I'm trying to make.
She come holding the baby in the house, and she's like, "You holding the baby?" She's not holding the baby, and I'm like, "What?" That's what she do.
Anyway, let's get back. We go off tangent, but no, that's dead on though. I do think that little stuff like that. Like venting, like you got a group of friends, y'all married or y'all in a relationship. Like, I hate when I wish he would cook more. I wish he would pick up more around the house. I think little stuff like that, that venting, like you getting it off your chest and you find a common ground with somebody who is commonly going through something common with you, and you're like, and y'all vent about it, you get it off your chest, and you go back to doing whatever you was doing. Or you discuss it.
People feel better too when they see that, it's not just my husband that does this. You
Right.
know, it's other people's husbands that do this. So
when you get into things like you said, like talking about like not keeping a job, and especially who you venting to, because I feel like that's a whole thing too. Like
that's one thing. I feel like your mother. We talking about mothers. I feel like your mother, especially boy moms. For some reason, boy moms are so smothering. And I have been through this situation. Like, you are not the first relationship. Obviously, this was
my
the
mom
worst.
was not smothering. She was in the beginning. She was different. She's not now. Definitely.
Okay, I ain't say now, but in the beginning. But it's just. I feel like boy moms are like that, and it's like I said, this wasn't the first relationship I was in where the mother was like hovering, but I was also a lot younger then, and obviously this is the deepest that it's ever gotten because you're my husband. But like boy moms are just smothering. I feel like they are, and so it's like you have to, not only do you have to deal with this person, but now this mama's boy want to go tell his mother, and you like, and now she got, you know,
I'm a mama's boy.
You know you are. So now she got attitude with me too, and I'm like, okay.
I mean, I do. Like I said, I think it's who you venting to, because there are things that I feel like I can talk to my homie about. A couple of my homies who are married, and we can talk about some things that may not just be socks and or cooking or things like that. Obviously, I'm not gonna let them too much into my relationship, but there are some things that I feel like I can talk to them about that I can't talk to my mother about. And then there's some things that I feel like I can talk to my father-in-law about, that as an older married man, my father-in-law or my uncle, who older married men who can understand, like, and tell me, hey, suck that shit up. That a younger man who's been not married or not as long is not gonna tell me the same thing.
That's true too.
Yeah, I mean, so like over the years, like obviously, one of the longest tenured men I know being married is my father-in-law. He's been doing this for a long time. Pretty healthy, successful marriage, and there's a lot of things, especially at tailgates, and because we tailgate together, and we have some Sunday afternoons together, and I just sit back there and I bounce a lot of stuff off of him. I talk to him about a lot of things, and sometimes he gives me warranted advice, and sometimes he gives me unsolicited advice, and I take it all in nonetheless. So I think venting and discussing that type of stuff, your marriage, with older people, older married people too, is healthy, can be healthy.
My dad has always, I don't know, my parents for some reason has always liked him. Like my dad has always, ever since he walked in the house that day and said he played college football, my dad has been in love. So I remember around the year mark when we were together, well, we actually weren't really together. We were having issues and we broke up, and my dad was like, look, he's like, men make mistakes. And he was like, so if you really like that boy, he was like, don't just keep playing with him and stringing him along. If you don't want him no more, let him go. If you really like that boy, try to make it work. And that's what my dad said, and he had never given me advice like that about anybody. So I really took that to heart when you said that. Like I said, my parents have been in love with him for some reason.
I'm a good guy. I'm pretty sure. 3 kids later.
You alright.
You know. Anyway, not to make this too long-winded. So like I said, I would say in the end, make sure that you are watching what you say and who you say it to. Venting is healthy. We recently watched, what's the name of the movie? Fatal Affair.
Oh, Netflix.
Yeah, we've recently watched Fatal Affair, and I feel like even though that was like a quick synopsis of how she let him and her too quickly into their relationship and gave him too much information, he ran with it, and then we don't want to, hopefully nobody's ending up in that type of situation, but it's just like, you just gotta watch who you vent to. Like I made the joke about like when he made the comment about, oh, you sleeping in a loveless bed or something to that effect. Like you can't tell everybody everything about what's going on inside your 4 walls.
Very true. Because people, like some people are jealous, some people are, and this includes your friends and your family. People may just not want to see y'all together. Maybe you have vented to them before, and so they're like, man, I don't think this guy's any good, when maybe he is, and you just vented one situation to them. So you just never know the motives and the biases that other people have in their minds. Maybe they don't even know the motives and biases that they have in their minds. And so you have to be careful of who you letting into your relationship.
Yeah. All right, so that is going to wrap up this episode. I hope you guys are really enjoying the series. We really enjoying these sit-down conversations, just being able to talk in an open nature.
And make sure you keep the conversation going down below in the comment section. We'd love to know your thoughts on this topic.
Yeah, so hopefully there's no entanglements happening over here, but and wishing you and yours no entanglements as well. Until the next video is Mr. and Mrs. Bradley checking out. Peace.